Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
I hope you're all doing great. Welcome to this public live chat. I'm really glad to see that there's many members from the public in the live chat already. There's 47 of us now, and hopefully there'll be many more as we go along. Please share this link with people, like it, so that the algorithm will show it to more people, and more people will come into the live chat. And our topic tonight, super important. The greatest internal threat.
We speak so often about the external
Yeah.
threat. It's found all over this channel. It's in almost every video. So I guess we've talked it to death.
But now the greatest internal threat
We don't often talk about that.
to South Africa. And I think you're going to find it interesting. So welcome. We've got Marsha, Lynette, Errant. Who else do we have? We have a lot of members. Susan. Welcome to all of you. And we're heading towards 100 people now. We almost had 300 people in the live stream last time. The more you like it, the more people are coming to the live stream. And this is a super important topic. The greatest internal threat to South Africa. Any initial thoughts as we have more people come in?
Lots of thoughts about this, but we'll dive into it as we talk about it, I guess.
Hello, everyone. We've got Yaku, Ferdi, Mandy, Avogadro, Heini, Glenn, Suzanne, Raymond, Ruben, the Black Swan. We've got lots of different people here. Interesting names. We've got over 100 people now. So, TK, hi there. It's great to have so many people gathered together on a Tuesday evening, and hopefully we can really grow Tuesday evenings to the point where we have hundreds of people. Last week we had 290 odd people in the live stream. Concurrently, we had over 800 people that joined the live stream. In fact, it was over 900. It was close on 1,000 people. So we don't want this to take too long, but we need to really do justice to this topic, right?
As is often the case with our Tuesday nights, we've always intended them to just be 30 minutes.
20 to 30 minutes, yeah.
Never works out so much.
Or even longer. I think last week was an hour and a half. So for those of you that are joining in late, we are going to be talking about the greatest internal threat to South Africa. And it's often something that people don't think about.
Sound is breaking up periodically.
The sound is breaking up.
Is that the same for others? Maybe it's just a signal issue.
Yeah. The mic is scratchy. Must I speak softer? If I speak softer, is it better?
Crackling.
Wow. I have no idea why that is. Sound is breaking.
Inaudibly scratchy, or can make do scratchy? Better, okay. Because
Sound is way too soft.
It's not possible to change the mic input once you started a live stream.
No, we can just pull this one out and we'll go over to the laptop.
Automatically, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe do that. It'll be tinny then.
No, let's just see. Audible.
Audible.
Some people saying it's soft. Sound is static. Clear my side. It's so different for everyone. This is interesting. Volume is good. Some people say they can't hear me. This is interesting. I actually had to restart my laptop just before this. It says it experienced an unexpected problem.
Okay.
When I actually tried to share this live stream on Facebook, and it shut down, and I had to go through a boot up sequence again, which I find interesting.
I'd love to go through life without any technical difficulties.
Yeah, that would really be awesome.
Lauren is crackling. I don't know if it's
Yeah, at first I was crackling, now you are crackling.
Sounds like it's clipping ever so slightly.
Clipping. That's fascinating.
Okay, make do scratchy is the sort of consensus, so let's continue.
Okay, so it's very different for everyone at this stage. Okay, we don't want to get stuck on the sound. We've just had technical difficulties for the last, I don't know how many live streams. Our mic is fine, yeah. Our internet is fine, good and fast. So, yeah.
Carry on audible. Not too bad. Okay, let's continue and hopefully the recording will be better.
Yeah, with crackling, I don't know why anything is crackling. We changed nothing. We literally just plug in a USB for the microphone.
We can still
and
hear the
that's it.
message. So the consensus is continue.
Yeah, okay.
Great stuff.
So we want to talk today about civility, speak about civility, what it is. And as I said, when I announced this live chat, or the theme for the live chat, is that the people in power want civility to keep them in power. But if they are removed from power, often they will become the most uncivil people. This is a very interesting concept and a huge threat to civility in our country. So anyone in government currently that become power hungry, get used to power, when they're removed from power, don't think that they're going to remain civil. They want civility now, and they'll use the police, the military, everyone to force civility on the
It's
public.
not civility.
Yeah.
The government wants public order. There's
Correct.
a huge difference between
Yes.
public order and civility. Public order means you don't break any bylaws and you don't cause trouble for the government. Civility is when you use your own freedom to act in a way that's higher than your primal instincts. And that's why there's no similarity at all between public order and civility. The government wants public order, that's why the police are there.
And they use the police and the military to enforce that.
Indeed.
Liberally.
Yes.
And very brutally if they have to. Hi.
I saw a beautiful, a little bit off topic, not quite, a beautiful meme on the internet. I showed it to you. It was a picture of Goldstein from George Orwell with the whole audience and his
1984.
big brooding
Which book is that?
face with the moustache.
Oh, there it is.
And it had at the top homeowners associations, and at the bottom it said, "May your Lord." And yes, it's interesting. I think the problem is power. People cannot handle power. In fact, people can't handle freedom of choice. People go crazy. Children go crazy if you give them freedom of choice. And it's the same with most adults, unfortunately. And this is why I feel like our work is more the work of self-improvement of lots of individuals to achieve the liberation of the country. Because if you achieve the liberation of the country structurally and systematically, and people aren't there to match that freedom, it will just devolve all over again in some kind of top-down, power-hungry system.
Why do we need to liberate the country? You know, the word liberation has hugely negative connotations, which is quite strange if you go look at the definition.
To liberate means to free someone or something from previous oppression.
How many of you feel like you're being oppressed in the country by the current governance system, the system that we are caught up in, even the financial system? Who of you feel oppressed by it? Who of you feel that you could be liberated from it? And some people might be embarrassed to say that, you know, that a lot of people will say, but I feel free. I can do what I want.
Free to purchase.
Yeah, free to purchase.
It's the only freedom we have.
Okay. Especially by the health sector. So the word liberate is associated with communism for some reason.
Because of liberation movements, I suppose.
Movements.
That have liberated themselves from oppressive regimes. Probably.
And then oppress the people after
regimes,
that. Yeah.
Yes.
More colonial regimes, I would say. Okay, so a lot of people absolutely feel oppressed. And people are scared to use the word oppressed as well.
I had a thought yesterday. I dared to venture out in public after a weekend at home. And I just, after interacting with people, public people, no one I knew personally, just buying stuff, I really felt like, wow, I was sent to the wrong planet. There was something wrong with my transfer. I need to speak to the manager. Does anyone ever feel like they were sent to the wrong country, not the wrong country, the wrong planet? Because how life works here is so alien. It's so unnatural. It's so weird. Say something in the comments if you feel the same, because I can't be the only one. I walk around and it's like weirdness everywhere, and I'll get into the details of that as we explore the civility issue, because Des might be speaking more about those in power in their relation to civility, but I'll come from a place of our responsibility in that.
Yeah, and the thing is, the citizens in the country is one of the big threats to the country, the actual people in the country.
Yes.
The one thing that I do want to explore is the fact that people in political power, when they lose that power, might become completely uncivil. Not just uncivil, but actual terrorists, or even treasonous towards the country.
Well, there are some bills that are leaning in that direction.
Yeah.
That is worse than the Russian president arresting his competitors.
Yeah, before
Political
election time,
opposition,
yeah, put them in jail.
That one bill on terrorism, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we have someone from a different galaxy. I'm from Venus. Okay.
The stork got me off on the wrong planet.
His GPS had a glitch, yeah, like our internet or whatever the case. But it's really awesome. We almost have 200 people joining us. It's a very important topic. And we do need to reflect on what happens when civility breaks down. You know, and I have to come back to the 5 things you need to survive. You know, when Lauren started putting out the 5 things that you need for survival: water, food, shelter, energy, and something to keep you sane, or something to make you feel loved or belong or whatever. And that one's kind of evolved with time as people need to understand it better. Yeah.
The last one, to keep you sane, is community. It's love and connection.
But it's like
purpose.
It's so important because all 5 are needed for survival. This is what a lot of people forget.
It will look different in different circumstances.
Yes, but however, all 5 is needed for long-term survival. If you lose your mind, you're going to do something stupid to yourself. So civility is important for a society to exist, or even a state that has governance. A society can exist without a government. How they exist is the question. It can be absolute chaos and carnage.
Thanks, Yaku, for gifting memberships.
Oh, thanks. So if you look at civility in a country, that's what makes it possible for you to drive down a road and not have rocks thrown at you all the time.
Not just that, someone mentioned in probably 2 live streams ago, I can't remember if it was a Thursday or Tuesday, someone mentioned specifically in the comments that they've noticed more lawlessness on the roads than usual. And a few people responded that they agree, and I've actually also noticed this. More speeding, more going through red robots, more carelessness.
People not stopping at stop streets. I mean, it's like a pandemic at this stage.
Yeah.
Much worse than it was before. And I think it's a function of how the government behaves. So you need a social contract with the people in civil society.
Careful with that phrase.
Yeah.
It has the wrong connotation.
With the people in civil society to actually allow government to enforce laws. Because if the people decide we're not living with these laws anymore, they are way more than the government. They can just go and annihilate them. So you need enough people to want that civility via laws that are enforced. And the moment the government enforces laws that people don't agree with and it reaches a critical mass, they will overthrow that government if they're not happy with the laws. It's that simple. And in our system, the system we have currently, government is carte blanche to do what they want because you don't elect your leaders. You vote for a party. And so there's this disconnect between who we vote for, which is supposed to be the democratic process.
No, someone's saying we're frozen already.
Frozen? Are you serious?
I hope not. Let me just open it here. If we're not frozen, I'd like to just continue and say to those that were just gifted memberships.
It is frozen. I can see it's frozen.
Membership? No, it's not.
No, it's not frozen.
To anyone that was gifted memberships, make sure you join us on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock to discuss a very interesting topic. Every Thursday, there's a membership meeting.
Yeah, we actually, last Thursday, we discussed the real lowest of the low when it comes to people being given unfettered
Human
rights.
nature.
People that are considered civil will do the most ghastly things.
I mean, just think as a mom. moms out there, what will you do to make sure your children eat? Or what will you do to protect your children? What will you do if someone violates your children in the worst way? I think you can leave your civility at the door. I certainly will.
Well, it's a civil thing to protect your child, so it's not uncivil.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, like in dire man-made circumstances.
It doesn't matter. Under all circumstances, to protect your family is a civil thing to do. That's what any civil person would do. It's an uncivil thing to allow a government to unjustly hurt your family.
Yeah.
You should fight to the death against them. That is the civil thing to do. So civility is not something that government judges you on. It's something society judges you on, and history.
So Charles says it's culture and how you were brought up. I'd like to, because I've thought about this in depth. It's more than that. I don't think people give enough credit to how the education system has absolutely destroyed not just this generation growing up, but my generation as well. Government-sponsored state indoctrination has destroyed the thinking capacities of millions. Millions? Tens of millions.
Yeah, tens of millions, definitely.
So on that note of what Des was saying, I was thinking about it just yesterday. As I said, I was sick over the weekend, so I stayed inside for a solid 2 or 3 days. And then I ventured out there yet again just yesterday. And it's always like a shock. When you're at home for a while and then you're out, it's always like a shock to the system. And what I saw, what I witnessed, which is nothing out of the ordinary, is what I would like to...
check the route.
How darest you? Is what I would dare... How darest you? Is what I would dare to call the one thing that is the opposite of morality, because morality and civility go hand in hand. And I think we've seen, as UNESCO, as United Nations has crept into our government systems, we have seen a breakdown in morality. And so the opposite of morality and the opposite of civility too is mediocrity. And I believe we are all at fault. I think we've all accepted mediocrity way too easily. No, it's not immorality. The opposite of morality is mediocrity, because mediocrity is the gateway drug to immorality. That is the problem. The one thing I was thinking is, why don't I send my children to school? I've encouraged so many moms to homeschool their children. And I ran #Leave Our Kids Alone, grew it to a massive movement, changed the education system with regards to comprehensive sexuality education. It's out of the schools more or less. I mean, schools have freedom to choose if they want to use it. That's not the reason I don't send my children to school. The reason I don't send my children to school is because my cute and innocent 10 and 11-year-old little girls are going to be surrounded by these little monsters who spend their Friday nights twerking in front of TikTok. There's no ways I'm sending my kids to go interact and mingle with that. Absolute. I can't even describe it.
And those are 10 and 11-year-old girls.
And I'm not sending my boys, who I have raised a certain way, to be corrupted by girls who watch porn. There's no ways I'm sending my children to a school, not because of what the government has done to the curriculum, not because of what the United Nations has done to the curriculum, but what mediocre parents have done to their children. And that is the honest truth. I'm so sick of people's mediocrity, low standards of service. When last has someone done some kind of job well just because they want to, not to keep their employment, not to get a pay, but out of self-pride, dignity, respect? That doesn't exist anymore.
Those words don't exist anymore. Politicians don't use it for a reason.
Yeah, so I ordered pizza from a takeaway shop, and the minute I did it, I regretted it. And I thought, there's no such thing as conscientiousness anymore. Do you remember? That word was used all the time when I was at school. Diligence, conscientiousness, and those principles are completely out of the window. And most people are polite and keep quiet about it. But it's the gateway drug to immorality. Mediocrity is the gateway drug to immorality.
And the fourth industrial revolution is now the answer to the state.
Because it governs immorality.
Correct.
It manages immorality.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop it.
So we're actually doing a workshop on Saturday on the fourth industrial revolution.
Preparing for the fourth
industrial revolution. Because of the state of parents and how they've raised their children, our government is telling us it's inevitable. They literally have departments for IR. the fourth industrial revolution departments in provinces, national government, in councils around the country. So whether you like it or not, they are preparing to ram it down your kids' throats. That in future, that the only survival they will have is via a device. And so where will the food come from, etc.?
Lab-grown everything.
Yeah, something like that.
So it's a sad state that we're in. It starts with individuals, and it starts with, I suppose, it starts with you and me, because all we have control over is our own actions. What we do. Do we speak up or do we keep quiet? And I think we've gotten to the point where we are now because most people have kept quiet about mediocrity. We have mediocrity in government. How's that article? How are we not taking to the streets and burning things down? That article on Joburg
Completely
Council,
frozen.
I don't know. No, we're not.
We're
The
not.
article
We're
on-
actually watching ourselves on another stream, and we're not frozen.
The article on that Joburg Council that you sent to me.
Yeah.
600,000 rand of your money
Per serving for food for the council
been
with
sent-
each sitting.
so that the councillors can literally get fat. I've seen the evolution of politicians. They come in skinny and they exit not so skinny. It's very
But
funny.
over 800 rand per meal, like a curry and
something.
rice. Over 800 rand per person.
And those that live in Joburg, that is literally your rates and taxes that's been spent on making politicians fat. How do you feel? How are we not bringing this country to a standstill? Why are we still going about our day? Why? I mean, I don't
It
understand.
sounds like you're on a presidential campaign, yeah.
No,
I
I'm
kind
just,
of like that.
I was at home in my bubble and then I went out again.
Oh, you need to get upset more. You must just go out a lot.
No, I would stay home and then go out because you get numb to it. You know what I mean?
Wow, it's wonderful. We have over 220 people watching now. We're speaking about the greatest internal threat to South Africa. And it looks like at this stage, it's the people of the country.
Yeah. Putting up with mediocrity.
Putting up with
You know,
mediocrity.
this whole...
Our government epitomizes that. The system of governance epitomizes mediocrity.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. The education system, the pass rate, the tertiary education in this country is shocking. How you can get in with such low marks. It's unacceptable. There should be a way to address the injustices of the past without creating this entire society based on mediocrity.
Our government actually justifies mediocrity, rewards mediocrity.
And I call that the Barney generation. I grew up watching Barney the Purple Dinosaur, and teachers gave me this message, TV shows gave me this message: you are special, you are unique, you are accepted, you are loved. And unfortunately, what that does is the absolute opposite of the upbringing you had. It creates completely unambitious people that are entitled. And that's the hallmark of the millennial generation and under. And as I blame UNESCO for creeping those principles in.
That's a subsidiary of the United Nations, for those who don't know.
Yeah, and of course, mainstream media, entertainment.
Yeah. Well, they work with these organizations all the time. And a lot of our politicians will absolutely kiss the feet of these organizations. And a lot of the problem is many of you might actually be supporting organizations out there or political parties or affiliates or whatever that are supporting organizations you might be diabolically opposed to, but you just haven't asked them these questions. So asking questions is super important, knowing where someone stands on something. I think it's very, very important.
It is.
Because one, and our focus is not outside threats today. It's inside threats. And one of the inside threats, and our greatest inside threat is the fact that people that are in government wants civility or public obedience, as you call it.
Public order, yeah.
Public order, so that they can remain in government. If they had to be voted out of government or not be in government, they will be the most disobedient, uncivil lot you can imagine. And this is really something you need to think about. And these outside organizations, if they influence people in the country, it means that the direction of the country is being influenced from outside. So that's another internal threat. The fact that you're weak enough not to come up with original ideas.
But that's why the global institutions have so much influence.
Yeah.
So you get
people are literally dunce.
I've experienced this in public participation, things that I've been to, the few that I've been to. And so you see people that definitely look incompetent in terms of the portfolios that they have and the titles that they hold and the decision-making abilities that they have. And so when Canada comes over, or the EU, or whatever country or organization, it's so easy to just, okay, copy paste this policy, so I don't have to think for myself. And that's why we have this entire national development plan internally that doesn't speak to the needs of South Africans realistically.
Well, someone is saying, watch this government suspend the next elections, but the IEC actually had their, what did they call it? The launch of the elections today, and they say it's going to be earlier rather than later. And I can understand that the president wants it as early as possible because they are losing votes in polls, every few months. It's just plummeting. So I don't think that the ruling party right now, when I speak of government, I speak of everyone in parliament, in government, and not just the ruling party, because the ruling party is not government. It's everyone that's there.
All 14 political parties
all
that
of
are
them.
Currently there.
So they want the maximum benefit. So the fact that the president can influence the IEC on the date is hugely problematic, and is one thing that needs to be changed. And the greatest threat, I have to agree, are the people accepting the status quo. The people wanting more of the same and believing it's going to get better. Thinking that moonshot pacts and all sorts of other things in the current system will improve things. That to me is the greatest threat. Our complacency. Complacency is really a good word. Our resilience is something you spoke of before.
We're too resilient.
Too resilient. We will almost handle any kind of punishment and almost feel, because the international media made us out to be pariahs in this country from all angles, whether it was the apartheid government or the current government. It's all a pariah state. So people feel beaten down from the rest of the world, and that mainstream media has infiltrated its way into our country. The people in America don't know what's happening in the rest of the world. It's all about them, and them when you're actually there. So they don't see or care what's happening outside, really. In our country and in many other countries is very, very different. You see what's happening in the whole world because the mainstream media doesn't actually care about what's really happening on the ground, because one freaking person owns most of the mainstream media. One company, Naspers.
That's another very strange situation, isn't it?
That's a huge internal threat.
Yes.
Yeah, in itself. So what people believe, what people see in the media comes from one organization. And then I remember when President Cyril Ramaphosa said how wonderful the media, how wonderfully independent they were during the COVID-19 pandemic. When all their mandates came from one place. And I'm thinking, and they all sang the same tune, like identical. Even people that I know at the radio stations were waffling away. We should all do X, Y, Z, and whatnot. It was like a refrain. I mean, I couldn't believe it.
It was a very interesting time.
Yeah. And the people that did it really shocked me. The people that just, without thinking, pummel the head and aren't asking any questions right now. So, once again, when did our government exert the most force against the civilians in the country that rose up against the laws or restrictions that government imposed on them during COVID-19?
Yeah.
People were beaten, water cannons shot at them, shot at with rubber bullets. People were killed. People were beaten. You were one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I ran too fast. Oh, I need to stop. Sorry.
Well, I didn't think I needed to run because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
No. Well, I understood that these people are there to beat up the people. Because I went and confronted the police captain.
Indeed, you did.
And the captain of the Sea Point police station. And it's clear that our DA-run city of Cape Town had decided that they were going to beat up some people and make an example of them. They actually had the media there waiting, ready to film this. It's, yeah.
Only it wasn't broadcast.
No, of course not.
No.
But I filmed all of it.
Yes, you did.
So, yeah. Yeah. Why do people get away with these things? This comes back to what Lauren said earlier. Most parents, firstly, don't care about their kids. I don't know why they had kids to begin with. I mean, phones have become babysitting devices.
I think it's complex. I mean, I'm not going to
The
judge.
financial system entraps people at this stage into making money.
Okay, so I blame the financial system on almost everything, because if we had the 5 needs of survival, we would feel empowered to do something. Because we're paying either rent or a bond, we don't feel empowered.
Most people believe they need to pay a third of their salary in insurance. That is not an option. There's no other option but to pay insurance. I lived that for many years of my life. And if I look at the amount of money I've spent on insurance, and there's an American company that I saw in an article that's pulling out of South Africa now with funeral cover. So they've made their money. Now they're leaving. Stuff the rest, all that money that you've paid, however long, at that date, it's a cut-off, poof. Up to that point, we'll pay people out. Those that die with a funeral cover, we walk with the rest of the money. Think about how much money you've spent in your lifetime for a what if. You see, it gets slightly stuck. It's the first time I saw it there now, and then it carries on. 800 Rand a meal. Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, I do not condone the welfare state mentality, but what a slap in the face to those that are living off grants, while those making the laws just get...
So at some point, this system in the country cannot sustain itself anymore. I mean, at the moment, if I actually calculated on the way home how much I contribute in tax every year, and it's almost R500,000. Okay? And I think how that money could be spent and what is actually happening to it. Have any of you ever wondered what happens to the money that you earn? What actually happens to it?
Well, pays a lot of debt, gets wasted, gets eaten up, literally. Jacques is saying, can this country be run on just the flat 15% VAT rate, no income tax? And I absolutely think so, yes.
Well, it depends on how much people spend. So that is a death trap that you just got into.
You can do it the other way around.
Because the one thing you didn't consider now is that people might stop buying.
Yes.
And then you'll have nothing. So
that's you can do it the other way around. Doing it the VAT way round is that the government is then dependent on your economic participation, whereas we should create a society where you don't need to participate in the economy to survive. So it's a bit tricky, but there are various ways one can approach that. I definitely think lessening tax is extremely important, because that's how you stimulate the economy again, especially when it comes to local businesses around you. And why, whenever we get a financial pinch in this country, why the government doesn't lower taxes beyond me. It's an obvious solution, because people will spend more money. People are not going to save, they're going to spend.
We have 2, 3, 4 people watching. Welcome to all of you. It's really awesome to have you here. That is a very important thing. Fuel tax and fuel levies is something that really bugs me, because it's a percentage and not an amount. So the higher the fuel price, the more government makes. And government is in dire straits right now. Who saw that Cyril Ramaphosa has asked for the SAMAs, the South African Music Awards, to be cancelled due to lack of funds? Because someone said that they can't follow anymore. I can still, our stream is still fine over here. We can actually follow our stream on another PC. So our stream is good.
It's very annoying how much tax we pay. Imagine, take the tax that you do pay. Yes, it's a lot, but imagine if you actually had the power to help people rather than giving that to the government.
You should also like our video.
Cut out the middleman. This is our channel, so our channel can like it. Okay. Yes, sir.
An extra like. It helps for more people to see it. Welcome. If you're joining us now, we're having a discussion on the greatest internal threat to South Africa. We speak often about the external threats, but there's a big threat right here in the country.
The breakdown of civility via mediocrity.
So let's look at how civility will break down, because I think this is super important. the moment you start losing those 5 things you need for survival in order. So the 5 things you need for survival is water, food, shelter, energy, and something to keep you sane, loved, feel part of something. The thing that keeps you going in very, very tough times. When most people will just give up. And
example, quickly.
This actually happens. Like there was this woman that was clinging to a tree. She's clinging to a palm tree, and she had a child screaming from the side for a mother.
Wow.
And the water was just this was not a tsunami, this was a flood. Okay. And she was holding onto that tree for hours, being hit by things as they came past. So she was on the back end of this thin, narrow palm tree, clinging on for life. Other people let go and just let the water swallow them up. And the difference was that she could hear a child. That was the difference.
Your child keeps you sane.
Yeah, it was something that made her want to keep going, because she had to do something really difficult. I mean, she was completely cramped. They had to literally take her off the tree when they could rescue her, because a rescue boat couldn't just go out and get her.
I have another example. We did the story in a workshop. 2 people were stuck on a boat for months. One guy starved himself to death because he couldn't handle it psychologically anymore. The other guy survived for 8 months at sea. And he survived on his imagination. His imagination kept him alive.
Mm-hmm.
So he had that mental strength. He had tools in his mind to help him stay alive. So I think it's that level of mental preparedness that people need. And what keeps you sane in an emergency situation will be different to what keeps you sane in a community, in your neighborhood.
You know, in the nuclear industry, we used to say when the chips are down, who will actually function better when things are difficult. And there's so many people that will think that they believe that they are mentally strong to actually do that. And then they quibble over the smallest thing. And I think to myself, you have no idea. If these things are so important to you, how are you going to cope when we are seriously in trouble, really in difficult times, when you don't know how you're going to survive? How are you going to carry yourself through?
It's an interesting
So
question.
let's talk about water infrastructure, because that's the first thing. Okay? And look at where we are with these threats, these internal threats right now. So these are the things that keep us civil, is having those 5 things: water, food, shelter, in other words, a place to stay, energy, some form of energy to keep you warm, etc., and something to keep you sane, activities, etc. For a lot of people, it might be sport, family, loved ones, whatever the case may be, books.
I know we're not supposed to speak about the global stuff right now, but I just want to explain that smart cities do take care of your 5 needs of survival.
Yeah, they actually do that very well.
But with underlying property principle that your carbon footprint is the smallest possible. Actually, your economic footprint.
Your choices narrow to almost nothing.
So water will be rationed, food will be grown in a lab, your shelter will be tiny, your energy will also be very rationed, and what will keep you sane is on the internet.
So it's not just about the freedom. The fact that you live in a smart city will limit your possibility endlessly. But I mean, I don't want to tell people how to live their lives. There's people that go into the International Space Station and hang out there for months. Okay? So that's the other extreme. There's people right now, voluntarily, they claim 500 mine workers underground in a coal mine. Some say that they're being held hostage there. Other people are saying, no, it's part of a strike. Who knows what's actually happening? But I see this thing ending up really bad, really fast, if something's not done about it. But people can make all sorts of weird choices. It's about the fact that you have a choice. And in this future world that Klaus Schwab and many other people are planning, he's not the only person. If you think Klaus Schwab is the big villain, there's hundreds more with his same status that can do a lot more than Mr. Klaus Schwab. So he's one of many, okay? Klaus Schwab wants a world where human beings are limited in the choices they can do, but all 5 things they need for survival is there. So the 5th thing, you need to make sure that means having fast internet, and all the other things people want, everything that kids are being driven to do now in school with smartphones, etc. So you are preparing them for smart cities, for that world.
I've heard so many moms saying they need to teach
You, in
coding
fact-
and robotics.
In fact, you are paying for it.
You are paying for it. You're funding it.
Yes.
I think in 20 years, we're going to be sitting with such a generational crisis. And I'm not sure how we're going to deal with it. There are definitely ways, but I wonder if some things will be irrecoverable because the children's brains are developing. They're being given tablets from the age of 9 months or less. They're growing up as their neurons are forming new pathways, as they are developing and maturing. When they're supposed to be interacting with human beings and dirt on the ground and things around them that are real, they're not. They're on screens. And I don't know what that generation is going to look like when they're adults.
Our one son actually went fishing today on his own, and he caught a big 3.9 kilogram carp. He was so proud of that. He took pictures of it. He took his own video of the release, and he proudly came home. He took his whole rucksack with his fishing rod and his net and everything. He packed everything he needed. And it was his first outing. And at his age, I mean, I used to do far more. I used to cycle kilometers with a bicycle. Luckily, the dam is just up the road from us. But that kind of independence makes a huge difference in a child's life.
Yeah.
And being able to do that and being trained to be able to do that, being able to know how to handle a weapon, what to do in a dangerous situation, and all that that type of thing. And I think when your child gets to the age of 16, they should be an expert in survival and many other things. And at this stage, I don't know how many of your kids will be able to survive if you're not there to look after them.
And it's never too late to change how you parent. I've changed how I parent so many times. I've made lots of mistakes as a parent.
We change many things a lot.
I recognize the mistakes I've made and I correct them. So anyone can change how they've parented up until this point. I definitely think our kids are privileged, spoiled somewhat. They have an easy time to a degree. And there's lots of things.
It's not an easy world that they're growing up in.
It's not an easy world. So to teach them their resilience and suffering. Des and I both have traumatic experiences we went through as a child. I'm sure lots of you here did. And I see how those traumatic experiences have given us perception and insight and wisdom and toughness and resilience. When your children, you don't want to traumatize your children, so you bring your children up a certain way. They don't have that natural survival instinct to the degree we have because we were traumatized and put in dangerous situations. So that's something I'm battling with right now. How do you teach them to be as awake and as discerning as we are without giving them the trauma first?
Well, I can tell you how traumatized people will be if they have no water to drink. Okay?
Yeah.
When you run out of water, you're going to experience trauma like you've never experienced before. I don't care how much food you have. You can live without food for quite an extended period of time. But without water, you're going to die quickly. You're going to die quickly. Not get sick, not feel hungry or any of those things. You're going to die. So water is super important, and water infrastructure in our country is in a serious, I won't call it a crisis. It's way beyond that. It's at a point where it's in disrepair. In other words, if you don't maintain things to a certain point, you have to rebuild everything. The cost of actually upgrading or improving the waterworks becomes impossible, and it's best to start from scratch. That is where we have gone in South Africa. And we don't have the money to fix that. So our money is being spent elsewhere. That 400 and something thousand rand a year that I pay in tax is going elsewhere. It's not going towards things like that. So that's why I've asked people in the past, make sure that you don't need government for things like that for extended periods of time, that you have water storage. And that's a simple thing to do to help maintain civility. And if that's the quickest way to break civility down too,
It's
not
hard.
being able to give people water.
It's very hard to not rely on running water. I feel like there's a few markers of a civil society. And one of them is not water, running water. There's a huge difference between having access to water and then having running water. And having running water is one of the hallmarks of civility, one of many hallmarks of civility. And so when we are storing water, that's not civility. That is just maintaining a semblance of civility so that you can get to a point where you can rebuild civility again. Otherwise, you're just going to end up dead.
Yeah, because having water stored, it's not running water.
Yeah.
It's not water with an energy source driving a pump that gives you pressure in lines where you can pump water to different places. That is proper civility. If we can improve on that, that would be a more civil thing to do. And one of the principles is continuous progress. We should keep on improving, have better pipes, have better valves,
People
have better
must
ways
improve,
of doing things.
Citizens must improve. Government must improve. Business must improve.
There's some things that are so good that they don't improve for many years, like matches and candles. Actually, if you actually think about it, the effectiveness of something like that, it's still cheap. You can still buy matches. So some things are just good the way they are. So I can't imagine how we're going to make the distribution of water better, except that we have more reservoirs and better quality water, better monitoring. However, the means of doing it, we've got that off pat. We've got that sorted. Maybe the means of harvesting water we can improve as well. But many of the things, we're not going to get it any better. If you had to be in some futuristic situation, you're still going to pipe water somewhere for you to drink it.
Yeah.
Even in a spaceship, if you have to. There's still going to be a pump, or there's going to be a reservoir that you need to put water into, and a gravity feed to wherever you use it if you're not going to use a pump. So yeah, water, super, super important.
And we're actually going to be discussing all 5 of these principles in the workshop.
Yeah.
In relation to the 4th Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. So think about how long will it take for civility to break down? In other words, for government literally to fold if water supply become a serious problem in the country. There's many places where people still get water. There's places where people haven't had water for a very long time. Okay? It's when the natural water sources also become severely polluted and you can't use them. So it's not that you're just not getting piped water or trucked in water where you come with your can and you collect some water to use. The water around you in a vlei or dam or river or whatever is also polluted. Once you reach that stage and you're living in a city, it starts to desertify. It becomes a desert, literally, with running water. And people will literally leave or die, one of the two. So water is super important. Next is food. And funny enough, I think most people will be concerned about food more than water, or toilet paper more than water.
I'm concerned about food. I always mention food before water, subconsciously. Yeah. That's the thing that keeps me sane. Tasty food.
Yeah.
So, food. It's interesting. I mean, if you look at your groceries, how much of it could you do without getting it from the shops? And it's a scary thought, especially if you live in a metro, especially if you haven't got space for a vegetable garden. When food prices become completely unbearable and you can't afford food,
I think we are at the threshold now. We are at the threshold of unbearable food prices. Who of you feel that food prices are unbearable now or at breaking point? Tell us how you feel. Okay.
How many of you have actually edited your menu so it doesn't look like it used to?
Oh, we have.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sad.
You don't consume more than 500 mils of liquid a day. Yeah, that's very little. Doors lady, definitely. Looks like you people are very well off, eh? Goodness gracious.
What do you mean?
We've adjusted how we eat food.
Yes.
I mean, definitely. So I don't know if the comments are just delayed. Here we go. Yes. Job says yes. So we've definitely adjusted. We've actually put some of our food storage into rotation.
Well, we have to.
Yeah.
For expiry date purposes.
Expiry dates and so on. So our rice and our pastas, we actually unpacked it, put it into our cupboard, and we're starting to use that. It's going to take us a couple of months because we had supply for a long time. Okay, so many of you.
There's someone who's been living on 2-minute noodles for 2 years.
Wow. Isn't that expensive? Or is it cheap? I'm not quite sure.
I don't know. I mean, I buy a bag.
How much do they cost?
A bag of pasta is cheaper than five packs of noodles for the kids. So depends on the person.
Okay.
Prices are crazy. Bananas up 40% in 6 months. Drastically changed. Yeah, it is. It is insane. So I can't imagine that getting much better with the state of the government that we have right now.
Yeah, the price of milk. We looked at a tray of eggs today, and it was, how much was it? 80 rand.
Blare en blare en nog blare some pasta. That works.
Yeah.
If it smells good, don't worry about the expiration date. That seems to be
We got
what we
chickens.
follow.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, we know quite a lot of people that have chickens. Chickens are really amazing.
Fresh eggs in lime water. Yeah, I've seen many people come up with all sorts of ideas for that. That really makes a difference. But I mean, after food, water is a big concern
Yeah,
for
we
me.
go.
For civility.
Shelter comes first, but then energy. Pasta takes too long to cook compared to 2-minute noodles. So can you
Yeah.
imagine if you're really
Okay,
watching
yes.
the units?
So
or the
that makes
gas
a difference. So
levels.
it's easier than to use 2-minute noodles.
Yeah.
Well, those are things that you have to consider,
Yeah.
and you have to make a plan. That's what all of us have to do. And a lot of people have said, but it's impossible to prepare yourself for more difficult times. It's never impossible. It's all about choices at the end of the day. You can get a government grant and you can prepare for difficult times.
Shame. I only eat dinner now. Drastically changed my food options. I think a lot of people have gone that route actually. The bird flu is becoming a massive price driver.
Any crisis, the rich make a lot of money. I mean, that's normal. You will see during COVID how many billionaires became like 3-4 times richer.
Of course.
And you ask yourself why. It's like they knew beforehand what to invest in.
Fruit prices are ridiculous. I also agree. They've just gone up, and it's interesting that it's expensive to eat
But
healthy.
I see this as a blessing in disguise. Because what's it going to do? Just with the energy situation, what's it driving people to do to become more energy independent? The same with the food situation. Remember on the Double O Days tour, I said that Visa, if you look at ShopRite and Checkers, these very cheap food supply stores, and then you have the USave and so on, that's really cheap, the lowest of the low and the cheapest brands possible. They started those stores so that they could really bring it to you for cheaper than you can produce it yourself. The same with Pep Clothing. They said that you shouldn't be able to buy the material and make clothing for cheaper than they could produce it and actually bring it to you. That was the motto, and they were absolutely right about that. And I said that a time would come where everything would escalate, where we would have to restore that balance again. And the same with food. People will be forced again to plant their own food because it'll become cheaper to do so. And I think it's a blessing in disguise. I'm not saying it's good that the situation exists, make no mistake. Maybe you should embrace the opportunity you have, especially if you have some soil in a pot or whatever to grow something that you can eat.
Yeah, it's interesting. We obviously see a lot in the comments in all our live streams how people are becoming more self-reliant, growing their own food to supplement their grocery bill. Not everyone can do that. So I think people will be thrust into more and more serious situations, and it feeds into the next need of survival, which is shelter. One I'm very passionate about because I say, and this is one of the reasons motivators for starting OHM, the fact that people don't have access to land ownership is the reason we're so subject to the economic system. We can't escape the economic system. It enrages me that you buy a simple entry-level house here in Cape Town for like 1.5 million rand, you're going to end up paying the bank back 3 million in total, more or less depending on your term. It's absolutely ridiculous that that's where we're sitting, that through a loan, a bank can make that much money on interest. It's disgusting. It's wrong. Why do we accept it?
And they securitize it and they sell it to other third parties illegally and make the money up front.
And then if you're in that economic bracket where you can't afford to even look at a bond, so you rent then, so you never actually have your own place to be self-reliant. It's very hard to be self-reliant when you're renting or if you're in an apartment. And then worst case scenario,
so we've been in that boat now for a while.
Worst case scenario, you live in a state rental, a government rental unit, or you live in a shack because you don't have any other option. And those are the choices that we have because land is withheld from the people. There is no place in the Constitution where it says that every South African citizen has the right to private land ownership. It does not say that. It says everyone has the right to adequate shelter, and the government decides what adequate is. No correction. The Constitutional Court or the judge of the day decides what adequate is. And most people do not have adequate shelter in this country. And shelter is important. So if we had a place that we knew, all of us collectively, was our own, that we could do what we want on, you can put a bucket to collect water. You can dig a dam. You can plant some seeds in the ground. You can have a couple of chickens, maybe farm some animals if you want to. You can build a shelter out of twigs if you want to. You can light a fire to keep you warm. You can do the basics to survive. And then as you get better at surviving, you can start building wealth for yourself. You can start creating a family, creating a business, and offering something to the community. And from that is a springboard to so much opportunity and prosperity. But that right to private land ownership is withheld and held hostage between the state and between the banks. And it's one of the biggest injustices of this world. And if we had that, if we had the security of knowing we have a place to call home that doesn't depend on us selling our souls to the economy,
it changes everything.
Then we will rise up against this government. We will displace this government and we'll create a new government. But because of this, we become like sluts for the economic system because we need a place to lay our heads at night. It is ridiculous. And this is why we accept mediocrity. You can take everything back down to the fact that the majority of South Africans, unless you're wealthy or have built wealth over generations, cannot afford a place to call their own.
In their own country where they're born.
But and foreigners can, people from Europe.
I was just going to say, people from Europe will come here, America will come here, invest in property, chase up the property prices. All the way. So it's not just about these parties getting funds from the taxpayers, because they do, and getting funds from other large players in the country and the world. They also want to grow the size of their government, because then there's more people propping them up. The larger the government in a system like this, the stronger you are. It always has to collapse. It gets too fat at some stage and it just implodes.
But I think what we're trying to say is that we want to minimize the suffering of this funny process that we're heading into, where it's inevitable that civility will crumble because what's happening now cannot be sustained. So the more people that are prepared and trained and know how to lead in times of crisis, the easier we can start to build a new nation. We can lead people into the phase of building a nation from scratch.
Well, we are entering a new phase now, and whether people like it or not, whether people in government like it or not, their time has come. You know, that expired.
Yes, it's over.
They've reached the expiration date.
It's time for them to go to their retirement homes, just look after their grandchildren, enjoy their days in the sun. But their time of governing needs to come to an end. We really have ancient people. You know, if you have something to offer, if you're above 65 and older, and you have something to offer, be an advisor, be a consultant, because you have experienced success in a specific field.
This is not just about age. This is about the system whose time has come and gone.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely has.
So the system is expired. It's gone by its expiry date. Absolutely. So, you know, this is something I really want you to think about, and this is another big internal threat to the country, is the fact that you have this system that is created fighting in parliament, so the political system itself. You have the ruling party that is voted for on sentiment, not with logic or understanding or anything that makes any sense. It was never meant to be that way. I'll just skip. It was never meant to be that way. And then you have the opposition, which don't really want to govern. They're actually too scared to govern. They don't know how to govern. I remember we DA for 3.5 years, almost 4 years. That was a time when they were talking about governing the country. And it was quite exciting. And when we realized that most people are actually afraid of that, you realize, but these people aren't serious about governing the country. They just want to keep their status quo, not grow the membership. They just want bums on seats in parliament and the clique to be looked after. Get their fat MP salaries. The party leader gets a big fat salary, and that is it. That's all they want. And as long as they are there, they are happy. And this is what they talk about all the time. I was there when they spoke about you can't ruffle feathers because then you won't be on the MP list. You won't be on the councillor list. You won't be the number one on the council list, which makes you the mayor, the mayoral candidate. And toe the party line. Don't represent the people, you represent the party. How can a system like that be good? It's an evil system. So I ask myself, and this is a huge threat, how can someone believe that any party that is currently in the opposition or the ruling party, that those people can say we need to stay in this current system? How can they look at people and say that this system is good? How can they say that?
I don't know.
And they claim to be Christian, they claim to be Muslim, they claim to be all of these things, and yet the system that they are in is an evil one that removes people's right to elect their leaders.
And what are some of the excuses? There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, often. Well, this is what we have. This is our constitution. But the constitution say that you can change it. You can change the constitution legally. If enough people in the country want to change things, we will. It's that simple.
We are.
We are changing it. And we would love you to join us in doing that. I think that is super important.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so it's almost an hour. We're almost again at 300 people watching. So it's
That's
really
amazing.
been awesome.
We really didn't anticipate this kind of attendance on Tuesdays. So we're really grateful for everyone.
We appreciate
attending.
that you're making the time, that you're spending the time with us. And just to recap, tonight we're talking about the greatest internal threat to South Africa. So let's just recap quickly. One of the greatest threats to me is the fact that the people that are governing right now, so it's everyone in parliament, okay, governing anywhere, that they only believe in civility as long as it keeps them in power, or what do you call it? Public order.
Public order, yes. Lana says, I was waiting for 8 last night like an idiot. It's Tuesdays, Lana.
Tuesdays, sorry about that. So I shouldn't apologize, should I? I think we made it clear it's Tuesdays. But so the link was made yesterday, but if you look at the date, it'll tell you actually which day it is. The people in power in government, and that includes all the other parties. It's not just the ANC that's in power. All the people in seats there vote on things, okay? So they are all in power in the current system. What will they do when they lose power, when a new system is put in place? Are they going to try and sabotage what we are doing? Well, watch the space, because we are going to change that system, and we'll see how they behave. And the proof is in the pudding. Are they willing to change? And we don't want you to be fooled by people promising you all sorts of things. Once we change the system, then we can elect leaders that can tell you that resemble the policies that you want, that resemble your ideologies, the things that you believe in. And that's super important. But we first need to take care of the first thing, and that is to change the system.
Very important. So that's
so
much...
yeah, what will they do? And I don't want to go into the detail of that, but I want people to think about it.
I'll probably discuss the more nuts and bolts of that on Owen's channel in the future.
Yeah.
There are some questions here that are more related to what I should discuss as we head into the 2024 elections.
Okay.
So those who are asking questions about tax and how to implement it and all the rest, we'll cover that, or I'll cover that on the Organic Humanity Movement's channel closer to the election time. So I will make those announcements.
But really, thanks so much for joining us. But maybe you can just tell everyone that's tuned in why you decided to go the route as a single person, because you did it as a single person.
Yeah.
There was no team that went with you. You weren't famous countrywide or anything like that.
No. Well, I suppose there's many things. I mean, I always talk about the reasons I started OHM. Like one of them being the lack of land ownership, the lack of access to land ownership, and also the future of the children, my children and all children, because I realize my children need to exist with other children, and I care about the future of children. And I can't see them surviving in this system. They're not going to have an enjoyable childhood where they can really learn and experience things the way other generations did. But
And their
ultimately,
children.
I experienced politics for a while, and I worked. I actually had a job in politics. I really loved my job, and I also really loved the people I worked with. And I really formed good friendships with the people I worked with. So leaving was not easy. I envisioned a career, and I know I would have gone far. And
You would have been in Parliament now.
Probably.
Yeah.
I had great relationships with the people I worked with. So there's nothing stopping me from reaching the greatest heights in the realm I was in. But I was so disillusioned with the the political system, that I thought there has to be a better way. And then I started thinking of all the other political parties, and I met people while I was in the political party I was in. I met people from other political parties, and I could see that they are subject to the same issues, the same internal fighting, the same broken system. And that's why I just thought, let me start a political party. And I did. And here we are. And we're going to contest the elections. And I'll talk more about that on the OHM's channel. There's already a lot of past live streams uploaded that can answer your questions. But soon we'll be launching our campaign for the 2024 elections, and you'll be able to ask me any questions you want on that channel over there. For those that are in Cape Town or near surrounds, somewhere in the Western Cape, near Cape Town, we'll be having a birthday party in December. OHM is turning 5 years old on the 14th of December. So contact us if you'd like to join. And then we'll also let you know if there's events across the country to celebrate OHM's birthday as well.
But thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending time with us. We really appreciate your time. It is precious. Our time is precious. And we know your time is precious. And we thank you for spending this time with us. We are frozen on our other PC. So I don't know if you restart that, if it will actually work.
I can try refresh.
We don't know if you can actually see us. Okay, there it's working again.
Political parties are like, can't see the whole thing. Are like most homeowners. Yeah, political parties are like most homeowners associations. There's something that happens, and we explored this in the members live last week. It's something that happens when someone feels like they have authority. Something happens to the brain. Are there any psychoanalysts or psychiatrists in this community that can explain what happens to the brain when someone gets authority? It's the weirdest thing that happens. It's like no one is immune. It's very scary. And this is why you need a system where an individual isn't empowered with authority over another individual. And that's the system I'm trying to create through OHM. Thank you so much, Bobby. Oh, no. Who gifted? Nella. Thank you so much, Nella, for gifting membership to Bobby. Bobby, I hope you join us for the live stream on Thursday.
Yeah,
the
it'll be awesome.
Live stream.
The members live stream is going to be interesting. We've got some interesting documents to go through again. We have these very interesting documents that came from an agent in Canada that was sent to my dad. There's quite a few interesting things we need to work through. They were sent in these postcards, and inside the postcards were these specific messages, and we've been covering that with our members for an extended period of time. So if you want to join us for that type of discussion, then please do so. And we normally have a topic as well.
Yes, we do. I don't know what a topic is yet.
Oh, we do.
I do.
You just forgot to.
I did forget.
Yes.
Lizette, thank you so much for the very flattering compliment. I did want to just remind everyone that this Saturday we are doing a workshop. So every once in a while we offer workshops. either self-improvement or something that's very niche.
And it's normally where people ask for a need. It was just with our first 10 workshops for personal improvement, where we looked at the things that we thought people needed and gave people our input in what we do, what we understand. So if you're interested in that, you can book that at any stage. You can go to bookings at omega.org.za, and then you can get those 10 workshops. They R100 each, or you can go and join the workshops membership on this channel. And then you can see all of them
Watch
there.
them all in one day.
Watch them all in one
So
go.
we have 14 self-improvement workshops. Then Des
Level
has
1 and 2.
some very specific presentations. This Saturday is also a workshop to help you prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. The things that are inevitable until system change happens. So I really do hope that workshop, you walk away from that workshop with the tools, skills, and understanding to reshape your life so that you can handle what's coming.
I think people need to understand what it actually means. I think at this stage, a lot of people don't understand. How many people have registered? I think 21 people have registered. Most of the time, most of the people register like at the last minute. Most people are probably waiting for payday because it's R100 per person, which is just a stipend for these workshops. And I think the feedback we've received, it's made a difference in many people's lives. Specific workshops made a difference to specific people.
Yes, my heart's so warm from all the beautiful feedback. It really gives me joy to know that I could help someone in some small way, improving some area of their lives.
And often you could think that you have an insurmountable problem or difficulty, and we will come up with such a simple solution in the workshop that you just need to implement.
Just a different perspective.
Yeah,
I think
that's all it is.
Our workshops are just a fresh perspective, a different perspective. Sometimes that's all you need. And I just want to talk about Omega training. Marlene asked about Omega training. Yes, Omega training. If you want to apply for advanced Omega training, please do. Just send an email to bookings@omega.org.za and we'll send you the application process. We prefer to get the application answers back via Word document or PDF document, but if not, you can just do it in email. To
make the processing easier.
It does make my life a bit easier. Yeah. We offered public Omega training without an application process.
Which is videos being loaded, and that hasn't happened in a while now.
Quite
there's
frankly,
so much that needed to happen.
Quite frankly, I cannot do it. I'm preparing for the elections next year, and it's taking up too much of my time. So I don't have the capacity to do that. So I encourage everyone to apply for the advanced training. Just apply for the
So it's going to take time to get the public training out. There's many things that had to be re-looked at, rethought. I mean, you've been extremely busy doing so many things. And I've been extremely busy trying to help at Kuburg so that we can have 2 more power stations for the next 20 years.
Yes.
Or 2 more units that produce 1,800 and something megawatts. It will actually be a bit more. And it is a lot to deal with. And power supply or energy supply is a crucial part of stability in the country besides water and food. Shelter is next, and then energy, so energy is super, super important. I'm a skilled nuclear professional. So in my capacity as a project manager, I have huge responsibility with a team of project managers to get this over the line. And it's a lot of intense focus and work that we need to do to make sure that the plant will be good for another 20 years and maybe another 20 years after that. So
we're going to have some kind of grid stability in this country. Yeah. Graham, on my side, I see 187 likes. It's not 34.
No, we can get more likes, yes. But it'll really be awesome if we can get more likes so that more people can watch us. And our lives are being watched more by people on the recording afterwards. So if you tune in late, do go and watch the first part. Or whatever you've missed out on. We do know that your time is precious, especially this time of night. We're not with our kids during this time. and there's many other things that we could be doing. This is part of creating awareness, and we need your help. We need your help to share the links of these public lives, and you will see, I think this was episode 7. Each one has a topic, but on the thumbnail you will see that, so they count up. You can go and watch the others. They're all there for you to watch. If you become a member on the channel, those that have been gifted memberships by other members, you can go and watch all of the history. There's over 500 videos there for you to watch in the members section. So you can go and do that.
Yes, and Thokozisi, thank you for the like. And everyone else who liked it, thank you so much. Remember, just apply for the advanced training. It's going to be so much easier for us.
But join our Telegram channel. You will see our Telegram channel now is ballooned to 1,190 odd, I think.
And once,
subscribers.
This is what I'm excited for. Once we've reached the level, the number we're happy with applicants for Omega training, we'll have an open Zoom session where we can just chat about the application process itself. And I really look forward to that. You know,
the application process was part of a process.
Yeah, it is. It's part of the training. And I obviously have to go through the answers. And we have such beautiful people in this country.
Yeah, I think please give people some feedback on what you've experienced.
I don't want to talk about people's details. We'll never divulge what's in
there.
there.
Your details are your details.
We read it once and never again. And there's no database or anything. So you don't have to worry about anything like that.
The experience is for you.
It's for you.
Yeah.
And it's just so beautiful to see the richness of everyone's experiences, the hardships that everyone's gone through, the hope that everyone finds, the inspiration that people seek to carry on. And we can build a nation with the skills and the compassion that is within this community.
And the depth of experience. I mean,
it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, the depth of experience. So, yeah, it's been an eye-opener for you to actually see the level of depth that we have within this community. So that is special.
Yes, Marlene, there is an interactive tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening is our interactive meeting for all the interactive members. It's the last Wednesday of the month, so it's our triple week. And then on Thursday, it's the members again. So if you want to become an interactive member, you can. If you are a workshop level or meeting level member, you can go and watch my 3 meetings that I recorded. The one is over 7 hours long. For those of you that haven't been to a Double O Days meeting, the meetings I'll have in future is going to be topic specific. Okay. So in the meetings that I've advertised on Telegram that we'll be doing around the country, first in Cape Town, then Gauteng, then KwaZulu-Natal, then the Eastern Cape. We'll do the Garden Route, Boland, Free State, Northern Cape. We'll do the whole shebang, and Mpumalanga, Northwest, Limpopo. All the provinces will be covered. In those meetings, I'm going to be speaking on a specific topic. And when we do the next round, I'll be speaking on a different topic. And the meetings aren't going to be that long. It's going to be an hour and a half.
Yeah, so the first one's a week after Om's birthday party.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully you will come out in your numbers. And for those, there's a different email address where people can respond to actually attend those.
Yes, please, for ease of administration. If you want to go to a live in-person meeting where Des will be presenting on a specific topic, you can go to meetings@omega.org.za, Omega with an H.
Instead of bookings, yeah. So meetings, and the workshop that we'll be giving will be for free. So it'll be our first workshop in person.
Yes.
So we'll be doing the meeting in the morning, have a short break, and then carry on with the workshop straight after.
Yes.
It's not a long break.
A lunch break.
A lunch break. And then we start with a workshop. It'll be in person.
And I'm interested to see where this goes for the country. Yeah. It seems like Mthokozisi came up with a hypothesis for the issue. It's not us that was crackling. This happened on another another thing he was watching, the Senzo case.
Yeah, some other people have also said that it's these are issues that's happening.
Yes, it's interesting. We'll just, if our live streams just die randomly, go back to our channel and just wait for us to start the next one.
Okay, so the meetings is for in-person workshops and a meeting. So it's for in-person meeting and a workshop. Only the level 1 first workshop, which is Triage Your Life. We're going to do that for free because we want people to experience it. And then hopefully people will do the rest. See what it's about and do the rest. They've all been recorded. You can book them at any time and do them. So really, I hope you come out to those meetings where we can meet each other. We'd love to meet you. It's not going to be chit-chat before and chit-chat afterwards like in the past.
People can speak to each other, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't speak to all the people like it was before.
Bonnie, most probably. TK, the dates, please go to our Telegram channel. I can't remember the dates offhand. Go to the Telegram channel.
Yeah, was it the 10th, the 10th and the 17th?
It'll be in there, and we'll keep on posting reminders. Thank you, Marlene, for gifting memberships again. It's very generous of you.
Yeah, thanks so much. That's really awesome. And then is raising funds at the moment for
info
table or info package, an info table package, where teams of people volunteers can sit and just tell people about what we are doing.
Yeah, so join the Organic Humanity Movement on Telegram as well. And we'll put all that relevant information on there.
We must actually put the link here in future. Then people can find it
when I'm
easily.
ready, I will have it on hand. We are so bad
so
at
much
marketing
to
ourselves.
handle. Yes, terrible. Yeah.
Oh, shame.
You're going to visit Cape Town. But we'll have more meetings in Cape Town. Remember, we are here. So
yeah, but then she's going back to Joburg.
Oh goodness! Wow, that's complicated. We'll be back there again.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be back there again.
Yes, tell me, that's so funny.
So please, we will put it on our Telegram channel as well. We haven't done that yet. Des and Lauren, those of you that want to contribute towards these packages. This is really about getting our system changed. Okay, it's really run its course. Remember, 1994 was a transitional period.
Yeah.
With a transitional anthem, flag, and everything else.
Yeah, and I think any other kind of system would have been awkward.
Yeah.
Considering where
we were then.
And where it was.
So it was meant to keep peace. Yes, and then we're supposed to move on. And Van Zyl Slabbert famously came up with a suggestion for how to move on and was just squashed. Everyone was so happy because this was too easy. You have full control as a party. They never thought these money-hungry people would get out of control. And they all gang together, by the way. If you don't see any party in parliament now fighting to change the system, it means they're very happy with this current system. It is feeding them well. All of them.
Literally.
All of them. All 400.
While we starve, while everyone's adjusting their weekly budgets.
Oh, never mind the council. 600,000 a city for
crazy.
Food, for catering. Goodness gracious.
How is the signature collecting going? Any idea? I have 18 so far. No, I'm not sure. One person sent me a form. So I'll put a message out there.
I think the Concord's going to rule on this. There's no ways that this number they just arbitrarily grabbed out of the sky is
going to fly. There's going to be a number.
There will be a number, yes, definitely. I agree. There has to be a number.
Okay, so the IEC said today the election's going to be earlier rather than later.
Earlier.
Anytime between May and August, but earlier rather than later. Yeah. The president has discussed it already, and it will be declared soon. It has to be proclaimed officially and go through the government gazette. Then next thing they said was that they've created a way to capture the signatures easily online. So we'll be submitting the signatures on an online platform. The signatures have to be acquired from registered voters. So register your people before you get them to sign. And then
if they're not registered.
Other thing they said, the IEC is waiting for the Constitutional Court to rule on the amount of signatures required. The proposal by Parliament was 13,800 and whatever.
When they've never had to do that.
No. So only unrepresented parties and independents. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. This is treason. This is undemocratic.
You know, a senator to run for Senate, you have to get 2,000 signatures in the US.
And they have an enormous population.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, 14,000. Yeah, that is just trying to waste people's time.
Yeah.
Tying them up with signatures. And the parties are laughing. So if parties aren't speaking out against us, they are part of the gang system. I don't care how much you believe in their religious beliefs or anything like that. They are a part of that system deliberately. And you need to think about that.
I just want to leave with one, dare I say, bombshell.
I like that.
That is, if you...
Jaco's going to like that. Where's Jaco?
He's hopefully still here. We started off the stream early days speaking about mediocrity and how our acceptance of mediocrity is the problem. All I have to say, in whatever elections we have, but especially in the new system, if you are unhappy with the mediocre...
Good question.
If you are happy with the mediocre politicians and candidates, then you need to stand up for public office. It's that simple. If there's just mediocrity around you, you need to be the difference. And until we've reached that point psychologically across the country, we will never actually achieve liberation from these oppressive systems that we have. So
DC Mambi asks a very important question. Aren't you going to become part of the same system?
No, we're going to obliterate the multi-party system. So we want constitutional change. We are talking about constitutional change here. We are going to be releasing our document very soon, which will outline how that's going to take place. We are the party to end all parties. We want to usher in a electoral system where only independents are elected to public office, where you can vote for your president.
You have a right to vote for the president. You don't have that right now. They don't give you that right. But you have that right. In Malawi, in Nigeria, in all these countries, the people have a right to vote for their president. But here, we must be the only country in the world where we don't have a right. So-called democracy, where we have elections, where we don't have a right to vote for our president. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane.
So the system's time has come and gone. Okay, you can put it in the bin now, and we can move on.
We're looking to the future, and the system we're proposing...
He doesn't see the path, so you can explain. It's all... Lauren will lay it all out in detail.
Yes, I don't think this is necessarily the place to do so. I have discussed this on Ohm's channel, on Ohm's YouTube channel, the Organic Humanity Movement, besides what we'll be releasing in the coming weeks very soon. Besides that, it's already been revealed on the channel, on all the live streams I did.
But please go to the Telegram channel. And then on the Telegram channel, Lauren will reveal when there's future live streams where things are explained. Yes. Aren't you meeting with our own members soon, countrywide?
Own members will be having...
the members. Okay. So it's not a public...
It's not public.
Not a public event. Okay.
Yes.
So, Heine says he wants to vote directly for a representative. So do I. The thing is, you have to use the current system to change the system. Our constitution allows us to change the current system. And that's the only gap that was left there for us to actually do that. And you need 75% support in Parliament.
To change the constitution?
So either you need to convince other MPs, like Abraham Lincoln moment.
Oh, I intend to.
Or you need to literally have the majority. One of the two.
Okay, you've opened the can of worms, so let me explain it.
Yeah.
We're using the political party system to achieve this goal. So what we're talking about, so there was an organization that brought forth proposed changes to...
Act, yes,
Yes. And they agreed. Problem is, it's still unconstitutional, even with those changes. The problem is, the root of the problem lies with our constitution, which declares that our country... or our democracy specifically is a multi-party democracy. That is the disaster. So we can't have elections outside of the political system. And in order to participate in the electoral system, you have to start a party up until the changes that have taken place. So I started OHM, the Organic Humanity Movement, so that we, skip that ad, so that we could change the constitution. And we have very specific changes that we are proposing. It will be released to the public very, very soon, the specifics. You can read that 10-page document and it will be made clear to you. But we, as a party registered with the IEC, need to get seats in Parliament in order to effect these changes.
In the current system.
There's still...
the very system we don't believe in.
In the system, there are two paths we can take. Work hard to get the majority seats in Parliament, which is very, as I say, that's the hard road. The
Can
second
absolutely be done.
can be done.
Yeah.
The second path, which is what we're leaning towards at the moment, is that we get a number of seats, and
Because of time.
we literally use the system and lobby other bums on seats, other politicians, other members of Parliament to vote for this constitutional change. When you combine that strategy with an excellent PR execution, then it can happen, because you get the public on your side. That puts pressure on those that are currently in Parliament. If they don't get on board, they are diverse, who are united, and who want system change, who are themselves liberating their own minds, so that we change the collective consciousness of the country. And people won't be able to fool us anymore. Politicians won't be able to fool the voting populace as easily as they have.
So OWN doesn't make the people dependent on them. Like, most parties want people to depend on them to fix their issues for them. What the Omega training does is it helps you to become, firstly, a super citizen. You'll know everything about citizenry, but to be completely and utterly self-reliant, face all threats, overcome almost anything, and you'll be able to build a civilization from scratch. So if a bunch of you are dumped, that have done Omega training, are dumped in the middle of nowhere, you will know what to do to start a civilization from scratch, from nothing, literally. It's very important skills to have. So our government will make themselves redundant once you have people in society trained to that level. And this is our frustration.
We want government to become irrelevant. We recognize that
they should be irrelevant.
Because evil exists.
The system is evil. It's an evil system.
Yeah, but because evil exists on this planet, because
you still need government, yes,
because people
or governance
will do things that are against the preservation of humanity because of that. Because people have the freedom to do so. You need the presence of some kind of government. So the fact that we need government means that we need to make sure we shape government in such a way that we have maximum freedom. How are you going to use all these freeloaders to give up their free ride? Seems possible. No. It's not impossible until it's done.
No.
Someone has to try. The thing is, no one's even tried.
It's not about that. Remember what Lauren said earlier about land, being able to own land. The state owns available. And I mean, Lauren will in future share, just like everyone else would have to do it in a direct election system, or a system where you can vote directly for the president or the MP or the mayor or the councillor. We need to change the system. Currently, a party tells the people in the party how to vote on a bill. So they cannot represent the electorate. Do you understand the problem? The system makes it impossible for any person in a party elected.
So just to paint the picture clearly, we're creating empowered people all over South Africa, not just in a concentrated place, but in all 9 provinces. And then that combination makes it almost impossible for it not to work.
Now, it's important to question how this is going to be done, because the mechanics are important. I mean, that's the first thing you probably came up with, is the physical
obviously,
how to. Yeah. And Lauren's been working on a document, and other people that have been reviewing it and so on for a long time. I don't know how long before it'll be ready.
I told the area reps to be ready today, but nope.
No.
Very soon though.
I haven't seen what the document looks like, so I'm looking forward to seeing the final product, just like you are. And that is going to help you really understand the nuts and bolts of what OMI is doing. So thanks so much for joining us. It's been an hour and a half again, Lauren.
You said it wasn't going to be quick. That seems to be the
standard, yeah. So our members live chat is an hour and a half every Thursday evening, so you can join us there, the new members. Tomorrow night for the interactive members, if you join as an interactive member or any higher level, you can do. You'll have access to all the other levels. So any higher level have access to all the lower levels. That's how it works on YouTube. YouTube gets 30% of the funds for administering the function, and then the government gets 15% VAT. That is how it works. But it makes it possible for us to do this work, and I really want to thank the members and the public for sharing this information. And for those of you that haven't liked the video, please like the video so that more people can watch it. At least
Members on
200
Wednesday,
likes.
for Wednesday's members, I want to say interactive
Yeah.
live stream, which is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yo, tomorrow's a busy day. Tomorrow, I actually want to give you guys some homework. Can I?
Yeah.
May I? So look out on the community tab. An assignment to facilitate discussion is something specific I would like us to discuss. Remember, in the interactives, Des and I speak the least. As the interactive members raise questions, talk about what happened that's significant in their lives, and respond to each other. And then we chip in our 2 cents here and there.
Okay.
But interactive people need to do the majority of the talking.
Absolutely.
Who's a bot?
No one's a bot.
Oh.
Good night, everyone. Thanks
Good
so much
night.
for joining us. See you next week.